Welcome to the Hog Podcast. Right now we have Abraham Escobar with us, and he is actually a fellow social media marketing agency entrepreneur. So tell us a little bit about you, Abraham.
Well, hello everybody. My name is Abraham Escobar. I'm a 23-year-old male from New York City. Um, I started digital marketing actually in 2019 before there was a real spike in the wave of it. I initially started in medicine. I went, traditional, go to
Yeah,
school, then
yeah.
go to college, pre-med. Kind of found out that was not really the path I wanted to take. And then in hopes of trying to, use a skill and leverage it, I found marketing, read books, read all I had to do, and then I got interested in it.
Okay. So how long did it take you to choose this path, and why did you choose this path?
Great question. I feel like I was kind of like dabbling in it, kind of like everyone just like picks at it. I'll
Okay.
say it firmly like 2 years. I was really looking into it, kind of like every kid looking into getting out the rat race. Started with drop
Yep.
shipping, and then you found out the skill is actually Facebook ads, not really drop shipping because there's no
Hmm.
real profit from that. And then there, as I was in my journey of trying to become like an entrepreneur, or better said, a doctor,
Yep.
I was shadowing doctors at an urgent care,
Okay.
and there I made a website for a doctor, and then I started marketing, and then that's where it got me now.
So who do you market for? Because every single social media marketing agency usually has a niche, and they market for a specific audience. You market for
Yeah.
doctors, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, for the most part, doctors are a big majority of my clientele,
Hmm.
specifically practitioners. But I do professional businesses. Anyone, for example, dentist, lawyer, but I'm niching down and projected for the next year to start a patient acquisition strictly with and partner up with doctors as well.
Okay. So you're partnering up with individual doctors, or you're partnering up with, let's say, a corporation or multiple
Um,
stores. Like, how does that work?
I like that. So I'm gonna partner up actually with individual doctors that also have an entrepreneurial venturing side, have
Okay.
their own practices. Within probably next year, we are just finalizing a discussion of how we're gonna approach it in the marketing side, but it's gonna be solely for practitioners trying to venture in their own thing.
Okay. See, here's where you and I differ a little bit, because I don't only work on the advertising side. Like, I'm cool with advertising. I can advertise for companies easily. But for me, advertising is not just advertising. Advertising is branding, and you can't really advertise without a brand, and you can't advertise to build a brand either. You have to advertise to sustain a brand.
Exactly.
So
Yes.
what do you kind of what are your thoughts on that? Because you're doing you're working with mainly doctors. That's my
Yeah,
assumption.
no, I love that question. So yeah, I totally agree with you. That's why I feel like we use the same approach when it comes to building brand image.
Yep.
So that's the two things. So you could do either two things: develop a individual brand or like a DBA doing business as, or you could develop a personal brand. And that's where I like to tell my clients to develop a social media presence, and that's the importance of it because regardless of if you use paid ads, if you use even traditional billboard ads, the fact that you could grow your social media presence online could be a funnel to get more clients. So is in the same way I tell them to do that, whether it is if they want to revolve it around their country, if they want to revolve it around, I don't know, for example, Dr. Miami, right?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's not his name, but people know him as Dr. Miami, and he got the clout. And when people go to talk about surgery, who do they talk about? Dr. Miami.
Yep, yep, and it's more based on cloud at this point, honestly. And this is
Yeah.
something that like, for example, I was working with a company yesterday. I was speaking to them, and one of their issues was they were a very functional business. I mean, they had everything going on in the back end. Their main issue was just getting more customers and getting more people to buy their service. And they're like, "Hey, can we use your advertising service to advertise more and get us more clients and more customers?" And I simply said no, because you guys don't have a developed brand. So my advertising would do no justice for you guys, and the numbers that I am promising is not going to be for you guys, and I cannot promise you anything from this point
Yeah.
forward, because you guys don't even have a developed brand. You guys don't have a social media presence, and social media advertising requires a social media presence. As I mean,
Yeah.
that's logic, right?
I like that you said that. I learned the hard way when I had to try to advertise for doctors that had poor, brand image. It's hard.
And here's the thing: if you can if you can have like a dummy advertisement without paying for the ads, if that makes sense. You just post on your profile and you bring in people organically, and you see your numbers go up. That's when you advertise it. When you know that a advertisement is working organically. So I'm
Yeah.
sure you have your experience with that as well. How long have you been doing this for? How long has it been?
So right now, firmly it's been a year. I feel like it was on and off because I was still trying to kind of like debate with this, like, what do I want to do with life type thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, and then I reached the point, during the summer that I was like, I'm gonna just go fully at it, fully devoted because, when you see yourself devote 100% of your efforts to a company, you're kind of like, yo, what happens if I could do this for my own brand or for my own, business,
Bro. Yeah.
and it's paying
Yep.
off. Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. So one question that I had is, how do you measure success within your brand, within
Love
your
it.
company?
Yeah. So obviously, number one of the biggest ones is are people hitting you up? Because if you got no traction in terms of community, like people interested,
Hmm.
um, so building an audience for me is number one because right now, we spoke a while ago about the new. I told you new currency is attention now.
Absolutely.
With
Absolutely.
brands like TikTok taking over, TikTok was so powerful that it shifted Instagram and Facebook to start doing even YouTube, like with
Even YouTube.
shorts
Even YouTube.
because people just want fast dopamine spikes. Oops. And this fast dopamine spikes is just captivating our audience's attention. So I feel like if, as a business owner, if you are able to kind of capitalize on that, that's number one. And then the second thing is obviously optimizing conversion rates. Whether it's if you're doing cold call, getting a higher conversion rate
Hmm.
there.
Hmm.
More people saying yes to you because at the end of the game, this is a numbers game. And if you get
Absolutely.
that percentage up, you get more money.
Okay. And one thing as well. Okay, you said you were figuring out what you're doing in life during that time. How did you stay motivated? How did you motivate yourself? I mean, you're here now, right?
Yeah, yeah. So I'm gonna let you know, man. Right now, like I had no other option because it was not even about me. It was a selfless thing. It was my mother and my family. Personally, just to get into deep, I didn't grow up with my father, right?
Okay.
And I didn't have that. So my mother was the only person having in my life, and to see her day by day, go to work, um, kind of like slaving off here, it was detrimental and heartbreaking, and beyond me, I feel like I think what's his name, Eric Thomas says it well. It's like
Yeah.
you will disappoint the ones that are counting on you. And then there was a saying that literally I heard it and I started tearing up. It's like I always like talk to when I talk to my mom. Listen to this, man.
Hmm.
I would be like what's up with this job thing? Why are Hispanics so closed minded? You should start your own business. And talking to her like that, but two different generations. And I heard this quote and it was like we are able to see the mountains because we are able to see the sky because we stand on the shoulders of giants. And the ability for me to see all
Right.
of this and think about entrepreneurship is because she's taking that initial risk as she took that initial momentum to go work and go kind of like slave off so I could actually have this vision and be a visionary in entrepreneurship. And so I'm like I want to pay it back, so mostly that's the thing that kept me going and going.
Okay, just paying it back to your family and making sure. So we get into manifestation at this point because if you ask me about, let's say, a year ago, not even a year ago, let's say 6 months ago, where I would be at today, I would tell you I'd be right here and right here, and I was right each and every single time because I was able to manifest it. Not only manifest it, but I was able to kind of allow myself to live in a reality that didn't already exist using tactics such as meditation, using tactics such as self-awareness, and even just being an egotistical piece of shit sometimes. And that's even helped actually. Just
Yeah.
like knowing that you are the shit, and knowing that you're able to provide a service that nobody else can provide, and just having that confidence, you'll be able to sell it even better. Okay, and people
Big
come to
time.
me and they're like, "Hey man, Ibrahim, why are you being so harsh? Why are you saying things that you should not have said this to these people?" And I'm telling them I'm being as blunt as I possibly can be because how I build my profile is just on being real. I will not
Yeah.
give you the rainbows and sunshines of your business. I will give you exactly what needs to be done and when it needs to be done and how. And again, I will not promise either results, or I will not promise anything for a company that just cannot get it, because then that looks bad on
Yeah.
me too, right? So we go back to
Yeah.
manifestation. So have you manifested anything? I mean, how did you do to like? Are you a fan of manifestation rather?
Honestly, man, I'm not.
You're not. You're not.
No, no, I'm not. It's because I feel like manifestation is there's a figure is very popular. It's like the thinker and the doer. The 5 minutes I could be manifesting something, I could just pick up the phone and cold call like 3 to 4 businesses,
Hmm.
and then actually get some traction. Not that is wrong. The mindset is right. I personally believe that saying some stuff and saying I am going to be successful, that's nice and all, but for me it's just kind of like very trivial and time wasting because you could just take it in action, and it's kind of like it goes like is you're trying to plan it out, kind of like a ready aim fire. But I like the approach of, I think this guy's name's Joe Kaplan. He says ready fire aim. It's like ready, take action,
Okay.
and then kind of adjust to it. It's not about like plan it out and manifest it out, because I feel like you get more done doing stuff than actually trying to manifest it.
So I was reading a thing. So I'm lucky to say I don't know what the hell anxiety is. I was reading a post that was talking about anxiety and saying that you're always thinking of wanting to do something, but you're never able to actually go ahead and do it. So
Yeah.
maybe that's even a feeling that goes into it, and I can kind of resonate with that a little bit.
Yeah, man.
But at the same time, I manifest everything. I will wake up, early as hell in the morning, go to the gym, and in the sauna and in the steam room, I'm sitting there manifesting, kind of closing my eyes. Everybody there is sweating and trying to get out and whatever. I'm just sitting there completely calm, breathing very calmly, and thinking about what my next steps are, what I'm going to do, and how I'm going to be able to build my brand in a way that the world has never seen before. So that's kind
Well,
of
here's the difference. After you do that, what do? You take the actions, correct?
absolutely I take the actions. I,
Yeah. So that's
so
my thing. I feel like a lot of people literally look. This is what they do. They manifest and don't do crap about it, and they expect it just for like the universe or life or whatever they believe to just hand it to them, and they don't put the work into it. You
absolutely.
know, you're a visionary. You're envisioning it, and the word vision is a verb. Then you're acting up on it. So I respect that completely, but I just feel like society as now, all they do is just they believe like if they think it's gonna happen, kind of like if Cosmo and Wanda's gonna give it to them.
Absolutely not, bro. Absolutely not. So I've been in this situation before where I've wanted to do something I just have never been able to actually get to that level or achieve it. So at that point, it's such a simple tactic, and I don't know why people don't use this enough. Where basically you reverse engineer from your goal. So here's your goal. What are you gonna
Yeah,
do to reach your goal? And then from here, what are you gonna do before that to reach your goal? And you're gonna write down a whole entire document or list and write down your every single one of your goals and see and put it in a time frame as well. Don't just say, oh, within this time or whenever I'm gonna get it done. Have a time frame for yourself. Make it very realistic. Have the
yeah,
goals be there, and actually do everything possible to follow these goals. And one thing that goes into it as well is just self discipline. Being able to not go out every single weekend and party, or being able to do things such as, you know, another example is meditating. Another example is not smoking weed. I don't believe in anybody smoking. I don't believe that
yeah.
people who smoke weed are actually productive. I don't believe that at all. Maybe you're productive in drawing things and just doing something that's very calming, but under pressure, you're not productive.
You're gonna get a lot of
You're
people
gonna
triggered.
exactly imagine me running a fucking agency, right? And then a client comes to me and has an issue, and I'm sitting here high as shit trying to answer them. Like, come on now, it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. Don't.
No, it isn't.
So yeah, but yeah,
Yeah,
man,
I agree.
yeah, yeah. But I've seen you around. I mean, a little bit. I've been kind of following your profile as well, and you're a lone wolf, man. I feel like you're a lone wolf. Do you have anybody on the back end helping you out, mentors, anything like that, or is it just because I feel like you're doing good, man? I don't see you working with
Um,
nobody else.
so so here's the thing. I am alone in terms of everything, service delivery, um, every single part of my agency. I tried going and getting, from white labels to BAs, and it's just a bitter taste, just to say the least, because of a lot of things. I feel like because you can't have the control of it, and then you're always micromanaging it. So I haven't really found kind of like that fluid state where you're just wrestling and restless, and just like kind of like, okay, I trust this team to do it. But I did try to get it. What's it called? A mentor.
Mm.
It cost me the $5,000, and sold on the dream, kind of like the financial freedom through consulting and coaching, and it's been good. But I also feel like I kind of regret it. Not that it's bad at all, but I feel like just the internet and YouTube as a source provides already all you need. That I kind of could have kept that in my pocket. And
Absolutely.
in all due respect, that the coaching and even the coach, I'll even shout him out. It's Trey Cockrum, amazing guy, amazing standards. I feel like the program is amazing, but I also feel like knowing myself. For some people, it would have been good. For personally, after reflecting on it, I think like I had everything I needed. So this is just for people like that are kind of like wrestling with the fact that wrestling with the fact if should I get consulting, should I pay coaching. I feel like if you need the help truly and you don't have the path, maybe that will be helpful. But I feel like everything is there on YouTube unless you want something done
So
with you.
so
Yeah.
here's my argument. If you're getting a coach to coach you in terms of your mental side of things in regards to how you should be thinking like as an entrepreneur, then yeah, sure. I'm okay
Yeah,
with that. You can have
exactly.
somebody, if you have somebody give you a course of what worked for them, that may not work for you.
Exactly.
And
You
that's
said it perfectly.
and
I
that's ex-
love that. Yeah.
and that's exactly what I had as well. I mean, I'm working with a few mentors here and there. One of the mentors that I'm working with was using Facebook and Google ads, or just Facebook rather ads, and Meta's basically ads, using Instagram to promote and to put your name out there. And you have to niche down. You have to find a process that works for you, and that all takes time. And to a certain extent, I have most of my clients, a lot of them have come through word of mouth. A lot of them have come through advertisements. A lot of them have come through other my other clients. So, and I've gone to a level where I need to outsource to get work done. I need to bring in
Yeah.
more people to the team to get more work done. Otherwise, I'm not getting much more done. And I'm already doing just fine without advertising. And then I'm like, okay, let me see what this is about. Paid for the mentorship, whatever. And then their idea was just building a social profile, building a social media presence, and just having people come organically for one, and two, coming through ads. And it worked. I mean, it was working just fine. But the only issue is a lot of the people who I was having were unqualified, and I was paying a lot more money and focusing on something that's not getting me as much clients, if that makes sense. When
Yeah.
and another way I could do it is, for example, just walk in. This is how I started actually. I would walk into the cam with a camera around my neck. I'd go to the store, whichever store it is. I will look out to see if there's an owner, if there's a person who's giving anybody commands, if there's anybody who's giving any type of leadership role. I'd have the camera. I'd go up. I'd take pictures of whatever they're selling, their products, their food, whatever it is, with a professional ass camera. I'd go up to that guy and I'd be like, "Hey, man, look, man, I really love what you're doing. Here's the camera. I took a few pictures. I was wondering, shoot me your email. I'll send you these pictures for free. You can use it for your profile." And we absolutely have a normal conversation. Everything goes well. And then at that point, when they ask me what I do or if I do this for a living, I say no. I market for companies. I advertise for companies. I just take pictures for them, this and that. And then they start to get curious about it. So at that point, they're selling themselves to me. So you
Yeah.
switch the whole entire
Narrative and dynamic.
narrative. Exactly, exactly. So at that point, coming to somebody and be like, "Hey, man, I sell this service. This is what I do. This is what I do, and this is why you should join with me." They're gonna say no. They're gonna be like, "No." When people try to sell me these things, but then if it switches, you're winning. You're winning. If you can find a way
Yeah.
to have them come to you instead of you going to them, you're golden.
I love what you said, and that's the importance of building an audience because there's people that don't even have to advertise anymore. And then because it's just their DMs are flooded with people that are already they're trying to sell themselves to your agency, and that's crazy.
It goes back to my point as well. If you don't have a brand already built, why are you advertising? What are you advertising?
Exactly.
What are you advertising? So it doesn't. There's a lot of things that don't make sense in regards to these things. And going back to you as well. Going back to the whole entire lone wolf idea. You did this all alone, I would say, right?
Yeah, man. Just to kid you not, like I learned self-taught coding, self-taught, whether it's the software, all of the programmation, watching. I kid you not. Like this past last year, I spend more time hearing YouTube than music because I was just playing YouTube videos, double speed, taking notes, learning, and I feel like that's what really you want to do. If you're an agency owner, you should be constantly in the first stages consuming knowledge because I feel like right now we're such in such an era that all the people that went to drop shipping trying to get like a quick rich thing. They're hopping into marketing, and then they don't want to put in the work. They just want to do this typical, I'm gonna get a client, then get a VA, and then media buyer, and just get the middle benefit, and they don't actually want to put in that work. So I felt like it was, for me, it was completely different, and I didn't agree because I started a while ago,
Yeah.
but I was consuming, reading, in just investing in myself, because that's what you invest in yourself is what you give your clients. And at the end of the day, the better the results. No, you can have the best marketing team for your own marketing agency, but like the thing that will set you aside is your results. I
Yep.
feel like.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. And how do you go about building trust? And how do
Love
you
that.
how do you get your clients to? 'Cause that's a big question.
Love that. Love that. Love that. Build rapport. Honestly, if you treat every client as a money bag, and uh, it's just not gonna go well. Because if you want to actually just network and build friendship, and say like, yo, if I don't close this client, then it's totally fine. Your way of talking to them, your way of approaching them is going to be natural.
Mhm.
So you're naturally going to build trust. It's not even about like, okay, let me build trust with this person, because I feel like if you come from that approach, you're already not being trustworthy. You're
Yeah.
trying to intentionally build trust. I feel like kind of like us, when we just DM'd and networked, and boom, we got on a what's it called, a call, and God knows where this could lead to. It could lead to a business partner. It could lead to me giving you clients, you giving me, something like that, or just helping each other out. And who knows, or it could just also we go our separate ways. But that's the thing, we don't know that.
Of
But
course.
here's the thing. Initially, we came with the intention of, yo, let's talk it out. Let's have a phone call. Let's have a podcast, and look, it could get you very far. And I feel like that is amazing, because personally, each and every time I talk to you, I start building trust and trust and trust. So, for example, if you were to come to me later on and be like, "Yo, Abe, I feel like I have this thing that really helped me, and I'll feel like benefit you," I'm like, I'm way more considerate, rather than you just DMing me out of the blind, like, "Hey,
Of course.
blah 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 blah. I have this course. I'm trying to sell you." I'm gonna be like, "Nah, no, thank you."
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then another thing is, if somebody's already successful, you're going to automatically want to be around them as well. If you see somebody doing
Big time.
doing their thing,
Yeah.
like I'll give you an example. If somebody tells me that they have 40 clients and they have a whole entire back end team that's doing all that, I'm gonna look at them and I'm gonna be like, okay, even even though I could be during that time doing the same exact thing, I will still want to know exactly what you're doing. If a guy comes to me who's like, yeah, man, I just started out. We should start a podcast. We should start doing this. We should start doing that. I'll be a little more considerate, if that makes sense. I wouldn't, or maybe for lack of better words, I wouldn't consider it as much. That's
Yeah.
that's the best way I'm gonna say it, because every single interaction is a trade off. Each and every single interaction
Big.
is a
Yes.
trade off, whether you
Yeah, it
like it or
is.
not. Whether, I mean, you can even say, even between you and a lover, or between you and friends, or between you and your best friend, you guys are trading things off. You guys are using time to pay off, or using time to to trade off a certain emotion or a certain piece of knowledge or something, right? It's always
Yeah.
something. So that's kind of how human psychology works, and that's how interaction works, in my opinion. So yeah.
Yeah, and going into that, that's why in being an entrepreneur and an agency owner is very important, who you choose as a partner, you know,
Yeah.
and in your love life, because like you said, it's a trade of time and emotion, and that could really translate into your business. And I feel
Okay.
like, yeah, I feel like I Alex Hormozzi says it very well. Your partner could have two. It could be either two dynamics. It could either be the football captain and the cheerleader, or it could be the business partner. I feel like anywhere outside of that is just gonna end up in a disaster,
Okay.
big time,
Absolutely.
because they're
I
gonna
can see
draw
that.
you out.
So here's another question that goes into it, right? You
Yeah.
have you have different types of entrepreneurship. You have kind of masculine entrepreneurship, and you have more feminine entrepreneurship, which basically means that the person who's leading it, their take and their approach comes. Women usually come from an emotional perspective. That's why, not necessarily a bad side of entrepreneurship at all, because
No,
a
no,
lot
of
of
course.
people are emotional, and even, I mean, hell, even men. And then there's a more masculine, like, hey, uh, don't worry about how you feel. You should just do it this way. So how do you feel about that? Do you think that that
I love that.
applies to?
Big time. I think that's one of the biggest factors, and I feel like the one of the things that doesn't, people don't talk a lot about is just the dynamic of it. It's good to talk about both things, but when it's blended, it's kind of like a perfect recipe, because the sales side of it, the entrepreneur side is very masculine. And with all due respect to all the women that actually pursue business, it's not that, they're, I'm calling them a man, but it's just more of a masculine trait to go out and take initiative. Just like you said, feminine relies more on emotion. So here's the thing: if you do 4 cold calls and you get rejected in all 4, if you rely on your emotion, you're gonna be like, screw
Done.
this,
Done. You would be
done,
done.
done. And as you know it as a business owner, it's gonna probably take 100 cold calls a day, and out of those 100, maybe 2 say yes a day, and then throughout that week of that you get, which is like if you work 5 days, that's probably like what, 10 yeses, and you vet them out, and at the end you probably will close 1, maybe.
Right.
So I feel like you need to have that masculine, but at the same time, where feminine comes is more of the creative side of it, because if we're strictly sales and we're strictly pushing, what's it called? Then we kind of have no little character. So that's why I personally agree on. I'll handle like the masculine side of it, but I also would get people that have like women that are creative, that have emotion, to have you make user generated content, which is a big thing like on TikTok and Instagram,
Right.
because it connects more with the audience. So I feel like when you use those, it's a perfect machine.
I think more men are millionaires, more men are up there, and more men are managers for a reason. I think it's
Yeah,
absolutely for a reason. You would have to be a certain type of woman in order to reach a certain level of money. I think you'd have to
yeah,
be a certain type of woman. I think you would have to completely remove all types of emotion. And here's the best way to put it: women have a biological clock. Men have a financial clock, which is why a lot of men work on their money, while a lot of women work on getting love, work on getting their relationships. So, as a woman, if you have a biological clock, by this age, you cannot give birth. You cannot be fertile by this age. So
yeah.
obviously, by this age, you would want to find a man. And if that's your focus, then you're not focusing on your business. That's the
No, no,
best way I'm
yeah.
going to put it. And women, to a certain extent, they don't even care about how much money they can make. If you're a girl on the streets and you're doing whatever the fuck you're doing, sure, you can care about money because that's how you flex. But a genuine woman would care about continuing her legacy with a man who is destined to hold her name. That's as simple as I'm gonna put it, right? No,
Yeah.
no man and nobody ever, none of your children will ever look at you and say, "Oh, mother, I wonder how much money you made when you were 27 years old." Nobody cares, dude. They're gonna look at
No.
everybody in the family and they're gonna see how much more children you have made, how much of an empire you have created. That's what they're gonna care about. They're not gonna care
Yeah.
about how much money you made when you were 23, or if somebody gave you a fucking Gucci bag, or if you were on a rich guy's yacht the other day. Nobody cares, genuinely.
No, yeah. Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so as controversial as that sounds, that's exactly how it is. It's the absolute truth.
Yeah, I like it. I feel like there's just 2 things about what you said, which is incredible. I feel like number one, Jordan Peterson says this a lot. It's just like men just tend to be more, less agreeable, and women tend to be more agreeable. For example, if you go to a corporate setting, right? Who's more likely to say who to work overtime with no pay, or and then who's more likely to ask the boss for a raise? Traditionally, and isn't, no offense to women, it's more men that are inclined to say, I want to raise, I want to climb the corporate ladder. Now, in terms of business, who is more likely to kind of like give freebies, and who's more likely to take more affirmative deals and say, no, this is what I want. Oh, you don't want this? Okay, totally fine. It's just more masculine. And when you see the richest females, and you observe them, they just have more masculine traits about them, because you have to get that assertiveness. You have to get that, kind of disconnect from that emotion. So you're completely right. And then
Mhm.
I feel like number two, men are, focused, and it's just on finances, because at the end of the day, when you look at the traditional, how we're hardwired, women are beautiful at nurturing and taking care. That's why, they with the concept of the womb, and men are, providers. And traditionally, I come from a traditional household where I believe, I should be the provider. When
Absolutely.
God willing, I have the children. Sure, if my wife, my fiance right now, she's going for nursing, and like I tell her,
Yeah.
that's good. If you want to do that, that's good. But I never want you to depend on that income. By all means, I want to make sure I cover all. And if you want to use that income to put it to the side for a vacation, then by all means, that's good. But
You're a G,
I'm
bro.
trying to.
You're a fucking G. Continue, mofo. I don't mean to cut you off.
That's all good, man. But and then that gives me number one, kind of like gives her trust, but number two, it kind of gives me a pressure and a motivation to keep going. Because we were talking about motivation earlier. It's like, it's beautiful to say I'm getting money for cars, but I'm gonna get money to have for my children and for leave a legacy. Because at the end of the day, we're all gonna die and we're all gonna be, in the grave. What really matters is what you leave in this earth, and it could be two things: money and legacy.
Absolutely, and that's why a lot of millionaires, a lot of people who have a lot of money, are not happy with their money because they spend so much time cutting people off and you know
Yeah,
not being around people that actually genuinely give a fuck about them and care about them. Because you can have, you know, $10 million in the bank, okay, but if you don't have the people to celebrate that $10 million with, you're in the gutters. You're not
big
doing
time.
things as right as you should be, and that's why to a certain extent I'm okay making, $800,000 a year and having my dream home with my dream wife and an amazing family, and then I would consider myself successful. Why? Not because I'm making $800,000 a year, but because I have a woman by my side who's able to take care of me and cater to my needs, and then I have a family who I have built up. I have built up a legacy, and maybe I affected the world at a smaller scale, but I'm fine
Yeah.
because me internally, I'm happy where I'm
Yes.
at. I'm good at where
You
I'm at.
found your version of peace.
Exactly,
Exactly.
exactly. Because my version of peace is not, it's not monetary value. The only reason why I acquire to have monetary value is simply because of status. Because this is a competition between all men. All men are competing against each other to get the right woman. Now, a woman's version of status is beauty. A woman's version of status is respect for herself and for her family, right? So
Yeah.
if for example, let's say I get married moving forward, and then one of my friends or whatever comes over to my house, and my wife is already there making food for us and doing something like, like I've come back after a long day of work, and my friends look at me and they're like, "Damn, bro, where did you get her from?" They're gonna ask me that question. I'm gonna feel like a fucking badass. That's all
Yes.
I'm gonna say. So a woman's status comes from her self-respect. It's not, it doesn't come from
Yeah.
her money as much. I'll be honest with you. And if you want to follow that
Yeah.
path, go ahead. Nobody's stopping you.
Yeah. I
Nobody's
have, I
stopping
have a
you.
question for you. I know you're the host, but I have a very controversial question,
Go
right?
ahead, please.
What is your opinion on this new wave of like OnlyFans and women, demoralizing themselves?
I absolutely hate it. I absolutely hate it. I was friends with a woman who had done OnlyFans. Now, me personally, I've never been on OnlyFans. I fear God, so I don't go on OnlyFans at all. And what happened was she was a completely normal female. Of her, knew about her. She started doing OnlyFans. Later on, she comes to me and she's like, "Man, I wonder why. Why is no guy loving me? Why am I not able to get in relationships? Every single time I talk to a guy, he wants to use me for my body." I'm like, because that's all he sees. That is all he
Yeah.
sees. The reason why gold is valuable is because not a lot of people can obtain it. The reason why scarcity is amazing is because not a lot of people can obtain it. And if your body is not scarce, nobody will care about your body. They will come in and walk out as fast as they came in. So if you don't
Yeah.
have that type of scarcity, it's done. And that becomes with everything. That is even goes back to sales. If I give an offer to a certain individual, within a week, if they don't reply to me, guess what? Their offer is going up because I'm not giving this out to anybody. I'm giving this out to you. You should respect it. The price is going up, whether you like it or
Yeah.
not. So
Like they say, yesterday's price is not today's price.
absolutely, absolutely not. And I would, hell, even if the prices didn't go up, I would raise the price specifically just for you. So it's I don't have to do that. If I ever have to do that, then it's not the right client, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm
Yeah.
I'm very respectful to my clients. I speak to them in a very direct way, and I build my brand on directness and just being
Yeah.
completely vague. So, or not vague, rather. What's the correct word
Honest.
for honest? There you go. So yeah. So what's your thoughts on that then?
No, we're on the same page. Yeah. I feel like right now it's very sad because for both men and women, because number one, women, they're just finding that economic relief because in reality they can make a lot of money from simply just posting that. And then I came across like several agent. I was networking with several agency owners, and I found out that there's this guy that has an OnlyFans agency, and I was like, "What is that?" And it's like I
Jesus.
manage OnlyFans for accounts, and that's why I say that because I was like, that's freaking crazy. That's just a
Now,
big stream of money.
now hear me
But
out.
here's the thing, yeah, and just real quickly, for men, it's detrimental because this age of pornography and this age of instant gratification, it affects your love life because you start seeing this as what you expect, and then when it comes time to actually get, with a woman, and then future, you try to kind of like plan it out, it's not really what you expect, because this is what you fed yourself all these years, and then it's kind of
Mm.
like, a disconnect from reality.
And I completely agree with that. Now here's the thing: if you are a person who is utilizing other people's mistakes, you have to understand people are not going to change. If a girl wants to start an OnlyFans, she's going to start an OnlyFans. Now,
Yeah.
if you are backing that up in a way, and you are using your experience in marketing to market them and help them grow their business in a way, you're not wrong for doing that. Just because you don't associate, like for me, for example, that's something I would do if I see for example, business where men are the target audience, and it's a big business, by the way. It's a very big market for those things.
Yeah, yeah.
And for example, if there's anybody who works through and who utilizes and finds these gaps and actually works through getting these people their views and getting their profile up, then sure. I mean, me personally, I would do it. I would absolutely do it. I wouldn't indulge in it at all, but I would definitely do it
Yeah.
if I see monetary value, and I
Okay.
wouldn't be ashamed of it either, honestly.
Cool. That's interesting. Like that, I personally, just to be straight up, I personally would disagree with that, because I feel like well, with me, because I kind of like find it like I disagree with, in terms of just, OnlyFans as a whole and what's going on. So I feel like I'll be a contributing factor. But I like that you say that it's kind of like a point of capitalizing, and it's a point that you see that there's a market for it, and then you have the skills to market it, but you're not really indulging yourself into it.
See,
I
at the end of the day, if I'm not scrolling through these things, if I'm not the actual customer, if I'm not being affected, for example, let's say a woman comes to me and she's, let's say I'm growing this agency, right? I would personally never do this. I have other means of I would rather put my time somewhere else personally. But if I
yeah,
have the
I
chance
get
to, and I have a business partner who's already doing very well at this, and he asked me to come in and ask for my campaign building abilities or funnel building abilities, then at that point I would absolutely take it. Now I wouldn't indulge in it, and I would advertise in a way that's beneficial for them, and then I'd put that
yeah,
advertising to the side. I'd let it do its thing, and I'd be somewhere else doing something else that's way more productive, or that's way more in a way accepted in my mind, right?
yeah, I get
It's
it.
never gonna feel good doing that. It's never gonna feel good doing that. But what is gonna feel good is the idea that I'm gonna be able to grow my potential and allow the people who I love and the people around me grow, and I will do that at any cost. So
Okay, I like
that's
that.
my current. So
Okay,
you wouldn't do that. You wouldn't help an
no,
OnlyFans girl,
yeah,
but it's
no,
also
no, just
hear me out. It's
yeah,
also out of respect for the individual that you're with. So
yeah, no,
if I'm with a person who I love, if I'm with a future wife per se, or somebody who's, like, for example, my fiance. If I'm with, I don't have one, but if I'm ever with my fiance, she says no, I don't feel comfortable doing that. I'd be like, all right, cool, sounds good. I just
yeah,
not gonna
yeah.
do it. Go ahead, man. I didn't mean to
Yeah,
cut you off.
imagine like I'm like, babe, I'm managing this OnlyFans.
Yeah,
You're
she gonna
not
kill
seeing
you.
me. Yeah,
And then, bro, I'm Arab, right? And
yeah,
you're Hispanic, so
yeah.
they get jealous, bro. We got the crazy ones. We got the crazy ones.
Yeah, no, but like I believe, beyond respect to her, because she deserves that, unmerited respect in terms of that. I feel like it's also an internal conviction, because
Mhm.
at the end of the day, it's something that I personally don't agree with, and I feel like I would be advocating and supporting by doing so. So I feel like I can just politely say, that's your way of producing income, but I just don't want to really be a part of it, because I feel like in an indirect way I will still be a part of it, because I'm just marketing for them. I'll redirect them to possibly where to look for, not even for a person, but where to look for. But I just feel like
Mhm.
it just doesn't sit well with me,
Okay.
and it wouldn't sit well with me if I were just marketing, and then eventually I'll stumble up on their content and stuff like that.
Yep.
So I just like kind of like cut it off from the root, like prevent it from even a thought being conceived,
Mhm.
kind of type of mentality. So, but I like that. I like to hear different perspectives, and I like to
Mhm.
see your like kind of like your lens of it, because you come from the approach that you're not really doing anything, and you know yourself. You're not gonna indulge in
It's
it.
either I do it and get money out of it, or somebody else does it and gets the same exact
Yeah.
money. If I get the option to make, 5 times more than what I'm making right now by working with these people, then sure, I would absolutely do it. Now I wouldn't indulge within the business. I wouldn't be a part of it. I wouldn't be scrolling through OnlyFans. I wouldn't even have an account. I wouldn't do none of that. I'd actually have somebody else from my end working on this. So I take on the project, and I wouldn't even work on it. I'd have somebody from my team come in and work on it, and I would put in as little effort as possible. In a way, sure, but if I'm able to capitalize on it, I will. So there's
Yeah,
a
I get it.
respectful way to be in it, and there's a way that would kind of mess you up if you were in it. So it all depends on how you do it as well, which is a
Yeah.
little risky when you don't have the control that you want to have in a way.
Yeah, yeah, I get
Yeah,
you.
man. Yeah.
No, I honestly, I like seeing it from there, and like I feel like at the end of the day, it's just like is in your convictions and what you find okay and not,
Hmm.
and then like, kind of like where you draw the line. So
Are you
I don't know.
religious, Abraham?
Yes, yes, I am,
On a
and I
scale,
feel like that explains a lot as well
yeah.
because um, at the end of the day, in my perspective, is just like what you involving yourself indirectly will get me involved and kind of get me in that picture, and I just want to avoid it at all costs. So
Mm-mm-mm.
and like if I'm preaching a message that's on the contrary of what they're doing, but I'm helping them with the marketing, it's
It
like
doesn't make sense as much. I,
yeah,
I
yeah,
completely understand that. I completely
yeah,
understand that. But then you don't have to be supporting it to be doing it.
yeah,
That's I mean, a lot of the people that work, for example, for um, coal mines, right? They probably don't support the whole entire cause of using coal and causing global warming. They probably don't support it at all. But that's how they're making an income. They don't do it because they want to do it. They do it because they have to do it. So that's the current level that society is at right now, I would say.
yeah.
But yeah, man, I did like hearing your side. I did like hearing your point of view.
Same here,
Um,
man.
anything else to add? Any questions? Anything controversial? Because I know we were having controversial topics here.
Yeah. I
Nothing at all.
I think the most yeah I think the most controversial thing I could ask you is what are your thoughts on Andrew Tate and stuff like that.
Oh, okay. We're doing this now. Okay. So, damn, bro. I think he's a. Here's the thing with all these gurus, right?
Yeah.
And I've studied them. I've absolutely studied them. All these gurus, they use drama. Uh, they basically use drama to get people to either be scared, to have a certain feeling. The Matrix does exist. I do believe in the Matrix. I don't believe that it's as developed and as crazy. Maybe not as developed. It is definitely developed, but
As
it's not.
cinematic as it's made, right?
Exactly. They're putting fireworks behind everything they say. They're putting a cool fire. They're putting you know uh, different frames and different lenses on what they say, and they're making it extremely cinematic to the point that people are interested. It's a movie for them. This life is a movie.
Yeah.
So what they do that. It could be true. Their message could be absolutely true, but then the way that they say it is very it scares people. And the thing that Andrew Tate does that I'm not gonna say that I resonate with. I really don't, but it's genius. One clip, he would say something like, "I'm allowed to have 4 girlfriends or 4 wives, and then or I'm allowed to cheat. I'm allowed to cheat on my woman." And a woman would be completely terrible if she cheated on me. I will not allow a woman to cheat. It's bad for a woman to cheat, but I can cheat. And then the next clip, what he would say is he would say something along the lines of, "I believe in love. Love is amazing. I think everyone should be in love with each other." And I'm like, you're contradicting yourself. So the people that love
Yeah.
him are seeing the only thing that's bad about him. The people that hate him are seeing the only thing that's hateful about him. And then he's
Yeah.
getting people to fight against each other when he's psychologically manipulating them. And that's the thing that's
Yeah. Yeah.
insane to me. And he's doing all of this. He's a rich guy. He's a very, very smart guy. He wouldn't be.
Very.
He's not there from because of luck. Okay, but he
Yeah,
knows how to
exactly.
manipulate people. One of the things that he said was to find an insecurity, find something that people are insecure about, and then target that and use that to sell your service.
A pain
And
points, yeah. Yeah,
and you
it
can
is.
see
It sounds
it is a pain point, but the way that he says it is very important as well. He said an insecurity. So if
yeah.
you are a personal trainer, you would go up to a girl or something like that, and you could be like, "Are you at the weight that you want to be right now?" Knowing very well that she's not the weight that she wants to be. And then you'd be like, "Are
Yeah.
you at the weight you want to be right now? So what's stopping you?" And then she's gonna sit there and she's gonna start to get into her emotional side. Well, my family did this. Well, my father did that, and you're manipulating everything else. And you could be like, "Yeah, I completely understand," and you start to resonate with them, and you start to target their pain points, and that's what
Yeah.
sales is, in my opinion.
It is, and then
So
here's the thing with like when you try to help them out, it's not for a person like seeing this outside of the box. They see it as kind of like manipulative, or they see it like it's wrong. But in reality, it's not wrong at all. For the reason being is that you're targeting that pain point or that insecurity, but you're also helping them reach a level that they're satisfied in. So in that same case, you're using that to draw them to be your client. But
absolutely,
here's the response: you're helping them overcome that, and you're
absolutely.
making them feel comfortable with that insecurity, and on top of that, you're making
Mhm.
them what resolve that issue.
And then if you don't help them fix it, you're down the drain, because
Yep.
that would go. I mean, just like upward spirals exist, right? So
Yeah.
if you're doing good, other people will tell you're gonna get referrals. If you're not doing as well, people are also gonna say, "Hey, don't check out this guy," or they might say a negative comment, or they might say something that's bad about you, and that's you're now in a downward spiral. So you have
Yeah.
to be able to provide the service that you target. Absolutely.
Big time. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think about Andrew Tate?
I I think personally he has some valid points, but I feel like he just kind of is like a kind of like a musket. He's fires, 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 like, and with no trajectory. I feel like his delivery is just very radical. But in terms of like what you were saying, I feel like the same thing. It's an algorithm issue. It's like people that hate Andrew Tate and people that love Andrew Tate are two sides, right? And then
Mhm.
people that hate Andrew Tate, all they see on their like content is like stuff to make them hate him more,
Yeah. Oh
like
my
and then
God. Yes.
yeah, and then people that love him is just gonna see like the inspirational and like the what is it called, the Sigma male side of
Yeah.
him, if they call it that. So I feel like that's where the divide is, and then that's just what's wrong with society as a whole, man. I feel like we don't agree to disagree. Kind of like right now we had two different opinions, and then we're like, I like your point of view, I see it, and then we're
Yeah.
kind of like, well, I just don't agree, and then, we kind of like walked along. I feel like society's not like that, and then there's very
Absolutely.
I appreciate you, bro, because there's very few that would say, I don't agree, but agree to disagree.
Yeah.
There's more like you're with me or you're against me. We see this in politics, in religion, we see this in every single aspect, and I feel like Andrew Tate really pushes that narrative of agree to you're not, if you're not going to see like a feminist go and actually devote themselves on seeing the good things. No, they're going to go and Google 10 reasons why Andrew Tate is bad, and then you're going to see the young boy go and see why 10 reasons why Andrew Tate is good, and then they're going to share it, and they're going to ignore the good, and they're going to ignore the bad, and they don't really find that middle ground. They're just going to take
Yeah.
one side when they don't
Absolutely.
know that the option is being in the middle.
Absolutely. And here's the thing. You know what you're exposed to. A good example I
Yeah.
can give you is if a woman, for example, and I give this example a lot, if a woman goes out and dates shitty men because of the environment that she's in, she will think all men are shitty. If a woman
Yeah.
is very respectful, even a man too, we're just using women as an example. If a man is, or a woman are respectful and they date good people, then they're gonna think that most people, if not all people, are good. So
Yeah.
your narrative is your perspective, and your narrative is also what you see.
Exactly.
And
What you allow yourself to consume.
and social media does that very well. If you hate Andrew Tate, you're gonna see shit that you hate Andrew Tate for,
Yeah.
and if you like him, you're gonna see things that you like him for. Simple
Yeah.
as that. It's as simple as that.
It is, and it's with anything in life. If you notice, if pick something that you're very biased about, whether it is a sports team or something. What's the first thing you do when somebody says something against them, right? And then you have to prove yourself. You start, for example, let's say like I'm a vegan, right? I'm not. Thank God
Okay.
I'm not. But no, 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 no.
Okay.
let's say let's hypo. No, 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 no. Hypothetically, like let's say I'm a vegan, right? And I'm trying to defend veganism. What am I gonna go do? I'm gonna go on Google and search up why the positive effects of veganism. Why veganism is correct. I'm not gonna come here with a neutral perspective. I'm just gonna go and reinforce, and that's kind of like what it is. It's called confirmation bias in psychology. You're just gonna build up your bias and you're not really trying to see that middle ground. That's why we have this society.
So I had a friend who wanted tattoos, and he was searching up for every single reasons as to why tattoos were not haram and as to why he should get a tattoo. He wasn't searching as to why he shouldn't get a tattoo. He was searching as to
Yeah,
why he should get a tattoo, because if he's biased about something, he's going to go to the grave to defend it. And another cultural
yeah,
thing is people think it makes you less of a man to be incorrect, and they're going to defend something that they're probably that they know that they're wrong about, because they think it
yeah,
devalues them, or they think that they look stupid if they are like, oh, you know what, actually you're right, I made a mistake. And the amount of respect that people have for you when you say something like that, nobody sees you as any less, honestly.
yeah,
They see you as more, they see you as very mature if you're actually proven
yeah.
wrong. So from that point forward, it all depends on how you carry yourself as well. So I think that's very important.
Yeah, exactly. I think there's nothing more mature than to say, I don't know. And it can relate to anything, and when somebody asks you a question, even in business, man. Like if a client says like, I could da 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 da, but your response is, I know how to do that, and then you're wrong, you just look like a, dumbass.
Yeah,
But if you say, genuinely, I don't know, I could find out for you, and I could find out if I could do this correctly. If not, then they will respect you completely. And, that approach could get you that client actually. I feel
yeah,
like.
you think so?
Yeah, I feel like, I think more no than yes, but there's a potential more that you say, like for example, let's say you go to a print shop and then you want like this exact thing. They're like, we never done this, but we could definitely try it out. You'd be like, okay, yeah, give it a shot. Instead of saying like unconfidently, yeah, okay. Like you're gonna
Well,
like, no,
yeah,
can you or can you not?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Or for example, being able to, I feel like being transparent saves you from a lot of headaches, saves you
Big
from a lot of things. If you're like, hey man, I'm the best at marketing, I'm the best at doing this, I'm great, I can absolutely do this for you, and then a company brings you on and you just don't do the same stuff for them, you're gonna look even stupider. But then if you right off the bat say, hey, by the way, we could try this, we can minimize the risk as much as we possibly can, and we'll test these things out, we'll see what works for you, what doesn't. If it doesn't work for you, we can, say our goodbyes. This is the price I'll give you for the testing phase only, and we'll see what that does. They're going to respect you a lot more than a company that
big
comes to
time.
you and that's like, yeah, we'll get you results each and every single time, yeah, we're the best. Like, no dude, no person can guarantee, no person is invested enough in a maybe a niche, probably, yeah, but no person is invested enough in people's traits and people's personality to be able to get them result each and every single time. The best thing you could do is just choose who to work with wisely. That's it.
Yeah, I completely agree. The only way I could see people actually being that devoted is if they're paying a good, price for that. If somebody were paying me like $100,000 a month for that, then by all means I'm attacking it with every single angle. But like if
Dude,
it's
I'm
a it's
dropping
a
all my
thing where
clients if I get $100,000 a month. You guys are all dropped. I'll fuck with you.
yeah.
Yeah,
No, I get you, but like it just reflecting on like it's just an issue about how much they're willing to invest in if they're in your time. I feel like if the price is just right and then you want to do it, then and it's reasonable to you, then by all means you could do it. But like kind of like your approach, you're just saving yourself time and headaches.
absolutely, absolutely. I completely agree with you on that. Um, but yeah, man, I really do like seeing how you. Well, I like picking at your brain just a little bit and seeing what you think about these topics as well, because we're in the same field in a way. I market for. Started off with physical stores. Now I'm working more towards e-commerce, and I'm a creative agency more than I am a. Well, I'm both an advertising and a creative, but I market myself as a creative first, and then advertising second.
Okay,
Because you and I both know that the creatives are kind of what draws the customers in,
big time,
and not even how good the creative looks. You can have a completely gorgeous picture of your shop, and people would not come in, but it's just the psychology behind it. It's what you tackle.
big time. Yeah.
So you and I have both seen ads that look terrible that have done great, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a reason why big companies use these horrible ads. Instead of like saying that's ugly, be like, why they're doing this. If
Hmm.
if if you notice Coca-Cola or McDonald's are doing something like weird or out of the ordinary, instead of saying, this is not gonna work, there's a reason why they're investing millions of dollars in it because it works. They wouldn't be doing it if it didn't
Hmm.
work. And then I feel like that's why right now, if you notice, one of the biggest things is user generated content
Hmm.
because it's just seen as super trustworthy. And just like that, the creative itself is, it doesn't even matter to use like a $4,000 or $10,000 camera. They literally could, a person recording on your iPhone a
Yeah.
video and it seems genuine could drive sales by a thousand
Crazy,
times
crazy.
more.
So what do you think about having a face to your brand as well? Do you think each and every single brand should have a face in the background to build rapport with people that they haven't even met or spoken to?
I feel like it's not needed, but it will help a lot. It goes back to branding, kind of like you have first branding that gives you your company's image, and then also having like a face, kind of like you mean like a spokesman,
Yeah.
yeah. I totally like that because it's kind of like its own branding in itself too. So if you look at it from a funnel perspective, it will definitely funnel in, and it also builds trust because
Mhm.
people have more than just like a logo to see. They see have a brand, a person to rely on, and I like it.
So, what do you think about going off topic for your brand? For example, me, I talk about a lot of controversial things. I say my opinion exactly as it is, and maybe it may not be related to marketing. The topic could absolutely not be related to marketing, but I'm still going to speak about it and say it and post it on my social media platforms that these companies that might work with me are going to see. How do you feel about that?
I 1 trillion% agree with it. Let me explain deeply why. Because number one, it makes it easier for you because you're not solely posting business. You make it more fun for yourself, right? If you're posting what you want to, this is genuinely you. Number two, that's that point. It makes it more genuine. People get to
Hmm.
see a whole perspective. But then here's the thing: the most important part about what I'm trying to say is that there's 3 layers of content, and then there's the widest layer is kind of like trying to funnel in every person to view your content. Then there's semi niche, is like people kind of interested, and then there's very specific niche. So it's quick and simple example, right? I want to target doctors that want to start their own business and venture into their own business with marketing and venturing. My content will have those 3 approaches, right? The outermost layer is going to be, it could be medical related, it could be medical school related, it could be something about a scrub top or Crocs because that attracts doctors. So it's going to get probably future clients. Then it's going to talk about medical business, right? Then the most centered content is going to be call to action centered content. Like,
Yep.
here is how
Yep.
I took this doctor. Da, da, da. So you get more people viewing, which is funneling in. Then a lot of those people are going to get nurtured with that second middle layer. And then the people that are ready to, or are in the kind of like on the edge of taking action, those videos are call to actions either to your website funnel or just even to just scheduling a call. So I like it. I
And
personally
and and,
like
and
it.
you do that through a funnel system.
Yeah, yeah. I
Absolutely.
feel like everyone should have a funnel system because
Agreed.
if you just have a regular website, I keep doing this, sorry.
Okay.
If you have a regular website, man, I feel like you're wasting money and time because the purpose of your website is every time they scroll down, they're convinced more and more and more to book a call. If
Mm.
they weren't convinced at all, then they go through the testimonials, then they go through the money back guarantee, whatever it is. But like, that's the purpose of your website, to sell you, not to really display, because at the end of the day, you need to close sales, right? You could care about the client and all, which is good. That's the whole point. But you need to close sales to pay the bills.
Of
And if
course.
you don't get that number up, with
You're
all
done.
respect, you're done.
Absolutely, absolutely. It all goes back to scaling as well.
Yeah,
So I mean, being scaling, like I said, what works for you is not going to work for somebody else. What worked for somebody else is not going to work for you. So that's why I don't believe in a lot of courses. That's why I don't believe in. I believe in the schooling system, but I don't at the same time. It's a very controversial topic that
yeah,
maybe another podcast we can definitely get into. But yeah, this is why I don't believe in courses that teach you how to do something a certain way without you even trying it in the first place. Now, if you're already doing it and it's working for you, yes, take a course on it. But if
yeah,
you're gonna pay $3,000 to have some random dude on the internet teach you how to do something start to finish and promise results, then by all means, go ahead, do it. But you can't see yourself, you can't see that working for you each and every single
no,
time. You can't be you can't be more confident than the guy selling you their service.
exactly. Yes. Oh, I love it. Yes, you cannot be. Yes, I love that because at the end of the day, you're not gonna get that return on investment.
Nope, not at all. But what you were gonna get is I would say knowledge. But if for example, if you touch a fire and you get burned, you're gonna understand not to touch that fire again. That's
Yeah.
worth the money, in my opinion. Oh, sometimes worth the money. Not gonna say each and every single time, but most of the time worth the money.
Yeah, I mean, it is a huge thing. So I feel like sometimes there, some people are just that's what it takes. You could tell them as much as you want, but they're kind of like a kid. Going back to your analogy, changing it up, like you could tell like your child, don't touch the stove, don't touch the stove. They're gonna still
They're
be.
gonna touch it.
It isn't. Yeah, when they touch it and they get burned, I promise they're not even gonna want to look at it. So it's the
Exactly,
same.
exactly.
Yeah, it's the same with people. You know, you could tell them, you got everything you need. You're good. Just take action. Like, no, no, no. They buy the $4,000 course. They don't see results, and now they're set back $4,000. Like, hey man, we try to tell you.
Now you're in the mud. There you
Yeah.
go. All right. Well, thank you for coming on. I really do, and we should definitely do this again next time. Actually, I had this is completely off topic, but I had a few other social media marketing agencies and a few people I was networking with that can even hop on a call. We can have a whole entire conference call, and anybody looking to
Cool.
start
I
a
love
social
it.
media marketing agency or anything like that can come in and watch and actually, instead of buying a $4,000 course, see
Yeah.
what we're going through and understand what it takes. Now look at Iman Ghazi, or whatever the hell his name is, telling you
Okay.
or selling his service to you so you can go buy his course, right?
Yeah.
Some things, like for example, one example that he gave me is to cold email. Cold emailing doesn't work. It does in a certain extent, but you have to, first of all, extremely time
Blast.
consuming.
Yeah.
Extremely time
Blasting.
consuming. Exactly, exactly. Secondly, you become a spam. Okay, and some it depends on where you're sending your emails from, but you become spam to a certain extent. And thirdly, if you're sending 1,000 emails and you're getting an open percentage rate of 3%, out of those people, how many do you think are really going to close a deal with you?
Point
I
zero
will tell you
five.
through cold emailing, and again, what works for me is not going to work for anybody else, and vice versa.
Yeah.
Through cold emailing, I've probably gotten 10 calls, and I had, 2,000 emails sent. There you go.
Yeah.
Have the percentage. But either way, thank you for coming on, man.
Yeah. No, thank you for having me on, man.
Of
It's
course.
honestly been an enlightening discussion because we don't like. I love, dude. I really love your mentality and your approach of things. I love
Thank
what
you.
you said. Your honesty and kind of like I'm the same way.
Yeah,
I rather be blunt, and I feel like we agree in this. Like we would appreciate people being more blunt with us because that's how we grow, and
of course.
that's how I resonate with a lot of people.
Yeah,
It was a time I was a lot of very agreeable, but kind of like if you think about being just blunt with people, what's the worst that could happen? You get
nothing.
in a fight, right? So just learn self defense, and that's all good. You good?
I like your mentality too, bro. Hey, if you get in a fight online though, then you're chilling. You're chilling.
Yeah, exactly. Like if
Pe-
if
pe-
you're good and clean slate, you don't have anything to worry about.
that's
So
the
just
funny part, bro, because back when I was in high school, middle school, people would actually get into fights. Kids would actually get into fights. Nowadays, you think you'd grow and you'd see more people fighting. But in reality, if I'm ever in a situation where I have, which is not very often, I'm at home fucking working, but if I'm at a situation where I have to fight or where I need to fight and I get in a quote unquote argument with a guy and I tell him to fight, it's all scrap up until the time that they have to fight. And then after they're like, nah man, we're good, whatever. Everybody's just
yeah.
talk. So
Big time. Yes, everyone's just thought. So, anybody watching, don't be that agreeable. Take controversy as your friend, not your enemy. And
and have your own opinions, please.
yeah, yes, yes,
Please.
please,
Please.
please, please.
Jesus.
Yo, yeah, bro. It's just a lot of copy paste right
Bro.
now.
No, I love this. All right. Well, thank you guys for everybody watching. I'll put your socials down in the description on the YouTube. And then we're gonna be sending out YouTube clips. We're gonna be shitting out every single short content form clips that we can think of. So we'll use that, and then hopefully we can stay in touch later on and get you on another podcast with a bigger kind of panel.
Yeah, man. And
Of
we could
course.
just catch up and see how we're doing so far.
Sure, let's do it. Let's do it, my man.
All right, man.
All right,
Thank
bro.
you for everything, bro.
Of course, and thank you guys. I'll keep your stuff in the description.
All right.
All right,
Peace.
take care.